Hi, baby boomer fans. We are Jackie and Janine, the Pfeiffer sisters, and love to talk about the 1950s, inviting you to reminisce with us as we explore experiences of that decade. Grab your favorite malt or Green River. Make sure you are wide awake and get ready to be inspired about the 1950s. Welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat. Hello, everyone. We are North Dakota's the Pfeiffer sisters, Jackie and me, Janine. And we are so glad that you have joined us today for another wonderful story of the 1950s on this chat. Jackie, let's get going.
Okay, hello viewers. Please cast your eyes downward to the bottom of your screen where you'll see www.whilethewindmillwatch.com. So please go there to find out about all sorts of information about the authors of that book you see up in the corner there, news and events, where you can purchase the book should you be interested in doing that. Also, that little book up there, While the Windmill Watched, A Slice of Rural America in the 1950s, was published in 2021. A few months after that, this 1950s Fun Chat began. This chat is a continuation, sort of the book, because the book educated people, readers, about the 1950s in rural America. This Fun Chat goes far beyond rural America, but the 1950s. So let's get going. Mm-hmm. So we begin with a question for our viewers. Did you know there are 15 flavors of Spam? You will be privileged to learn the answer to that question, as well as many other facts about this well-known food product. This gentleman you see here, Gary Quednow, was born in 1947 in Austin, Minnesota, which is also the home of Hormel Food Corporation, the creator of Spam. Gary graduated in 1965 from Pacelli High School in Austin, Minnesota, and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science and History and Economics in 1969 from South Dakota State University. He also married his wife, Nancy, in 1969, so it was a big year for him. Gary and Nancy have two daughters, Jill and Lisa, one son-in-law, Carl, 4 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. So Gary worked in sales for 34 years at the Spam Museum for 9 years. You didn't know there was a Spam Museum? Well, he'll tell you about it. However, he's always been involved in a variety of sports throughout his life. He played baseball throughout high school and college. He owned a golf shop for 12 years. He coached baseball and softball for 35 years and officiated baseball, basketball, and football games for 44 years. So, Gary, we welcome you to this 1950s Fun Chat.
Mm-hmm. Good morning.
Hi.
Morning, good evening, wherever you are.
It's morning.
Yeah, it's morning here. Okay. Before we focus on the food product of Spam, let's hear about growing up in the 1950s in Austin and how the home of Hormel Foods Corporation influenced your life.
Well, growing up in the 1950s here in Austin was really a good time. Pretty quiet town, pretty peaceful. We could walk any place in town. We rode our bikes all over town. Hamburgers cost $0.25.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mom would send us down to the swimming pool a couple days a week with 50 cents. We'd have enough money to buy a hamburger at the Tender Maid, which, by the way, is still here in town and still going.
Interesting.
We would have enough money to get into the pool, and we'd have enough money for a treat on the way home, which we usually stopped at Cloggy's Ice Cream for a double dip ice cream cone.
You made good use of that 50 cents, didn't you?
Yes, it went a long ways. Now, to give you an idea, those same hamburgers cost $7.
Oh my! Oh. And they're probably skinnier.
No, actually, they're still you get a lot of hamburger on the bun. You need a spoon to finish eating the rest of it.
Oh, well,
do you still hop in the pool too?
I know how to swim, but I'm not much of a swimmer. I'd rather play golf and do those kind of things.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anyway, growing up, to give you an idea how Hormel affected us, they had a whistle on their plant that went off at 7 in the morning, 12 o'clock noon, 1 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. And why the different times, I can only address maybe the fact 7 o'clock is when you were supposed to be at work, the hour for lunch, and 4 o'clock maybe is when you went home. I don't know. But to this day, those whistles still blow. To give you an idea, back in the 50s, Austin High School was the largest high school in the state of Minnesota.
Okay.
We had a lot of kids here in town. And a lot of activities. I started playing baseball when I was 6 years old, sponsored by a park and rec program here in Austin. We had every park had its own park leader for activities during the day. So we really had it made. I mean, there was always something for us to do. We had three TV channels, one out of Mason City, Iowa, one out of Rochester, one here in Austin. Everything was black and white. And we didn't play in the house. We played outside. We didn't come in till the streetlights came on. And if it was a really good night, then we could stay outside a little later and play games like hide and seek, kick the can, those kind of things at night. So yeah, it was really a good time to grow up in Austin. And to give you an idea, I would say over 70% of the people in town owned their own homes. And a lot of that was due to the people that worked at Hormel.
Sure. Gary, you said Austin in the 50s, that was the largest town in Minnesota?
Largest high school.
Largest high school.
Oh, high school. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. My goodness. Lots of competition in sports, probably music, scholarship.
There was. And to give you an idea, Austin's had a long tradition of good sports. I still believe to this day the public school has had the most entries in the state basketball tournament. In 1958, both Austin High and Pacelli won their respective state basketball tournaments.
Oh, wow.
And it was, to give you an idea, when kids tried out for teams, they would, like on a baseball team, you'd probably have 18, but you'd probably have 35 or 40 kids try out for those 18 spots.
Oh my goodness. Did the coaches stay with those teams for many years then?
For a long time, yes, they did.
Okay.
The Austin High School gym is named for longtime Austin basketball coach Obi Bourbon. It's called the Bourbon Gym. And many of the athletic facilities here in Austin have names of coaches that were here during the 50s and the 40s, for that matter.
Okay. So that was a great introduction to your town there. Hormel Foods Corporation began in 1891, I understand. So please touch on the company's beginnings and then concentrate on the launching of Spam in 1937, beginning with the creation of the word Spam, please.
Well, George Hormel and his family had immigrated from Germany. And George Hormel, the founder of the company, at age 14, started working for his uncle at Decker Packing in Chicago, Illinois. And he worked there for a while, but sanitary conditions were not very good. So he got sick. And he had to go home back to his mom, and she fed him, I don't know, chicken noodle soup, whatever you feed him to get him feeling better. And he stayed at home then till he was 17. And at 17 years of age, his dad said, "George, you're too old to be home. You need to be out in the real world earning a living." So George ended up with a company in Des Moines, Iowa, selling hides and wool and buying hides and wool. Northern Iowa, southern Minnesota was his territory. And he was paid $75 a month. And he came to Austin, and he ran into a family of attorneys called Catherwood, and they sort of taught him how to play cards. Unfortunately, they taught him how to play poker. And he lost most of his money here in town, but he liked the town and he liked the area. And he started a provision market here in Austin with a gentleman by the name of Frederickson. But George did not like the retail end of things. He didn't like sales. He didn't like marketing. He just liked the processing end. So he got out of the provision market, and in 1891, he bought an old creamery, added a smokehouse to it, and George A. Hormel and Company was born. They went through a depression, a recession in the 1890s, and the business was very close to closing. But George had a very good reputation as a businessman, as a person, and his bankers were in Chicago. And as the story goes, the business was ready to fold. And he took the keys to the business, went to the bankers in Chicago, and said, "Gentlemen, you now own a packing plant in Austin, Minnesota." He had two questions. Where's Austin, Minnesota? And what are we going to do with the packing plant?
Yeah.
But on George's good name, they borrowed him $1 million to keep the business going. He brought it back to Austin, and the rest is kind of history.
Yes. Gary, how did he acquire the livestock, or was it only hogs that he processed at that time?
No, back in the day, the first year, George processed right around 1,000 animals, but it was ducks, it was geese, it was chickens, it was whatever anybody brought in. But as the company grew, they processed beef, sheep, and hogs.
Okay.
And so George got married to a school teacher from Blue Prairie, Minnesota, which is about 15 miles north of here. And I can't imagine a courtship by wagon 15 miles, but it worked out. And they had a son, Jay. Now, Jay was an entrepreneur from the word go, unlike his father. And Jay, at an early age, cars started to come to being into Austin, but you needed a can to put gas in. So Jay scoured the city of Austin, found every empty can he could find, painted them red, poured gasoline on them, and sold them to people to put gasoline in them for their cars. Then as he got a little older, back in the day, and this is even before my time, apparently women cooked with grease and lard.
Yeah.
So in your sinks, you would have a water trap and a grease and lard trap. So Jay went around town, would buy the lard and grease from women, take it over to Hormel, sell it to his dad for 3 times what he paid the women for it.
Oh, I wonder how he decided on that markup for his dad.
I have no idea. Anyway, Jay moved on, went into the military, was in the Quartermaster Corps during World War I. When he came out, his dad sent him to Princeton University. Well, he went to Princeton University, took over the laundry, made tons of money for the laundry. But his grades were awful. So the president of the Princeton wrote George a letter and said, "Why are you spending your money on this kid in college? I'd bring him home and put him to work." So George did, brought him back to Austin, and Jay showed up the first day at work in a 3-piece suit. George goes, "You know, Jay, this is not quite how it's going to work. There's a pair of boots, a pair of bib overalls, and a flannel shirt over in the locker. You put that on, head down to the stock barns. You're going to learn the business from the ground up." So for the next several years, Jay did just that, worked in the plant doing all the jobs and that sort of thing. Finally, his dad said, "Okay, Jay, you've been here long enough doing that. It's time for me to retire. You can take over as president of Hormel Foods." But George moved to Bel Air, California, but he stayed on as chairman of the board for several years to make sure Jay was taking the business the right direction. So that was practically 1926. Then Jay came up with the idea of canning meat, came up with the idea of canning hams, which he did. He came up with Dinty Moore beef stew. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I've eaten my share of Dinty Moore beef stew. Also Hormel chili in a can. He came up with that idea. And the interesting part of that was when Jay did that, he would find people in the professional businesses of entertainment to advertise with his new products. So Spam, the one you want to know about.
Mhm.
In 1936, because of all the trimmings they had from the hams and the front shoulders, Jay wanted to do something with them, not going to waste them. So he came up with a product he called spiced ham. And it was in a yellow and green and red can. He didn't like the can and he didn't like the name. Now, Jay went to California to visit his dad, and he went out for a New Year's Eve party. And at the New Year's Eve party, he offered anyone $100 to come up with the name for his product. Well, an actor of all people who had a relative who worked in the office here in Austin took the SP from the spice, the AM from the ham, put them together, and Spam was born.
Mhm.
Pretty
Now,
easy.
I have played golf with 4 of the CEOs of the company, knowing lots of people that have worked at Hormel, and that's the only story I've ever heard as to how Spam got its name.
Huh. Must be the truth.
What was that the last canned product or the most recent canned product that Hormel has developed?
No, Mary Kitchen's hash. I'm sure you maybe seen that on the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
They have those. Most hams nowadays are cryovac, which is in the plastic wrapping, but they still have 2 canned hams that they make. And most of their other products are fresh meat or smoked meat products.
Okay, and they still process poultry
No,
as well.
they own Jenny O Turkey.
Okay.
So they process that in Wilmer, Minnesota, and 2 other sites in the state of Minnesota.
Uh-huh. So mention a little bit about Spam, the trimmings. What more can you tell us about how Spam is made? The process.
Well, basically, Spam is a very simple product. You take the trimmings from the hams and the front shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's water, a little salt, a little sodium nitrite, and whatever flavoring there is. But in the late 1990s, and if you remember opening cans of Spam, you got that gelatin around it.
Mm-hmm.
And most women would go, oh, they didn't like that so good. So somebody in R&D figured out if you put potato starch in with the mix,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that gelatin any longer.
Okay.
And so today, if you open a can of Spam, you get a little juice,
Mm-hmm.
and only because of the cooking process.
Yes.
Okay.
What was the price of those original cans of Spam?
Oh, I got to think back. You know, if you look back some old advertising in the newspapers, maybe 50 cents, 55 cents, might be on sale for 39 cents. So yeah, it changes.
Mm-hmm.
Now Spam, depending on where you look for it, $3.75 to $4.25, $4.50 a can.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting when I worked at the museum. We get a lot of people from Asia, Southeast part of the world to come in, and they'd walk out of the museum with 7, 8 cases of Spam.
Cases.
Yeah, and there was some ladies from the Mariana Islands, and so I stopped him one day and I said, why are you taking 8 cases of Spam home? She said, well, we saved almost $250. And I said, well, how did you do that? She said, Spam in our area costs $15 to $17 a can.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they had to ship it, which
Yep.
probably cost.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Tell us about all these varieties of Spam.
Yeah. And how did that start?
Yes.
Well, the first one started in 1987. It was the hickory smoked and the cheese variety.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the variety is no longer there. But as popularity has grown, particularly in the Asian community, they came up with like Korean barbecue, Japanese barbecue, gochujang, hot and spicy, jalapeno, tocino. We make a flavor called tocino, Tocino, and that is specifically made for the Philippines So in a lot of cases, if you want to buy tocino, you can get it at the Spam shop at the museum, or you can go to the Philippines.
Okay.
But tocino is a very, very sweet barbecue. And when we used to do Spamples at the museum, people loved it.
I love that.
And they would buy cans and cans of it after they had tried the Spamples.
Yeah.
Then we have like the less sodium, light Spam. We have what else? What ones am I forgetting? Maple and maple flavored. So yeah, those are about the 15 flavors that they produce.
And do you have a favorite, Gary?
I like the maple, I like the hickory, and I love the tocino.
Okay.
And my wife makes a dip with the tocino. We grind it up. Now we have a food processor where I don't have to use Grandma's old hand.
Meat
hand
grinder.
And we put a little cream cheese with it, a little cheese, and then the ground up tocino in there, and it makes a great dip.
Huh.
Gary, have there been cookbooks, Spam cookbooks that have come out?
Yep, there are Spam cookbooks.
Oh my.
And if you can go online at Hormel.com or Spam.com, you can find recipes. And in the museum, we have a kiosk that has recipes, all kinds of varieties of different things, all the way from Spam fritters to pizzas to Spam with cloves that you can use for a main meal. And the fun part of it is you can email those to yourself so you can have the recipe when you get home.
Oh, neat.
And I had a lot of fun with those because I had a couple friends that I went to high school with that weren't big Spam lovers. So every couple months I'd send them a new recipe just to let them know Spam was alive and well in Austin.
Has there been in Austin, have there been other companies that have taken off just like Hormel did?
The only other large employers in the city of Austin, well, back in the day, it was St. Olaf Hospital, now part of the Mayo system. Eddie Box Factory was here, got sold to Weyerhaeuser. I worked there in the summers when I was going to college. We made a lot of boxes for Hormel. And they're still here in town. Now it's International Paper. We have a community college here in Austin and the school system. And those are, and the city, and those are probably the largest employers here in the city.
Well, it's wonderful to have a variety of employers like that.
Yep. And, you know, people, like I said, people do pretty well. And I would say right now, home ownership is still very high in Austin. And people come to town and they love the downtown because we have flower plants all over. And the Hormel Foundation has a lot to do with a lot of that.
Tell us about the Hormel Foundation.
Well, that was another one of Jay Hormel's brain ideas. It started back in 1941. Jay Hormel set aside 48% or thereabouts of the common stock that the foundation was owned. And in the bylaws of Hormel Foods and the foundation, the corporate office and the main plant has to stay here in the city of Austin. The proceeds from the stocks that the foundation owns, after the remaining family members are paid, they have to spend here in the city of Austin. And a couple of years ago, they spent like $25 million here in the city.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, they've done things like help build a new recreation center for the city. We have smart boards at our schools. All the kids from 5th grade on up have a laptop that they use. They supply smoke detectors for people in town that need them. So yeah, they do a lot of good things here in the city of Austin. And traditionally, the retiring CEO of the company becomes the president of the foundation.
Okay, sure.
So, Gary, what's a smart board?
It's a whiteboard. Now you're talking to a guy that's technologically challenged.
Okay,
So going to
but
be
you know more than we do.
going to be a pretty basic description.
That's okay.
It's a board that you put up instead of a chalkboard,
Oh,
and you can connect your laptop to the smart board and do your work that way.
Okay.
amazing.
Teachers have the availability then to put information on that or problems on that or whatever they need to do. So you don't have to stay after school and clap erasers anymore.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it's kind of messy though.
Yes.
It is, but and that was usually for the people that got into trouble.
Yeah.
Well, for us, we got paid a dime to do that.
Really?
We did? I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gary, back on spam. Do you ever find folks who just are disagreeable with eating the product?
Yes. In my history, in the 9 years I worked at the museum, I had several people come in that said, how can you eat spam? I mean, we had people come in with the idea that the ears and the snouts and the tails went to spam. And I had one gentleman even ask me, so when you scrape up the floor, you throw that into spam? So people have a real interesting concept of what spam is. And spam is a very good, healthy meat product and relatively inexpensive. Number of meals you can get out of it. And when we would have people come in like from South Korea or Midway Island or those kind of places, they would tell us in their areas a family of 4 would have a can of spam for 2 meals.
Oh
my.
Now me, I go out to eat and I think nothing of eating a 8 or a 10-ounce steak. So but they mix that spam with rice and noodles and a lot of things, and they really stretch it.
Gary, how did spam get associated with the military?
Well, Jay Hormel, and I don't know because he had served in the military, he still had connections. But during World War II, at the war's start, the Hormel plant here in Austin was actually guarded by the military because 90% of the canned products that they made went to the military in World War II. And by the time 1945 rolled around, 65% of everything they made went to the military.
Okay.
And to this day, we still do sell to the military, but their they're military, how they call it, the ready to eat meals that they have are microwave nowadays, most of them. And so there are some spam products in that, but most of our spam products, from what I understand now, goes to the PXs and sold on bases and that sort of thing. But yeah, we still do spam with the military, and I believe there's still someone at the corporate office that works with the military on those kind of issues.
Sure. Do you go ahead? Oh, is spam highly recognized in the state as the meat of the state, or how is that accepted?
I would say spam. If Minnesota, I mean, with the loon as our state bird and the walleye with our state fish, I would say yes, spam is pretty well recognized because throughout most of the state, Austin is known as Spam Town, USA.
Okay.
So I would say, yeah, we're pretty well recognized. And the museum, to give you an idea, I've worked at the museum on a day when we've had 1,600 to 1,800 people come through the museum.
And I take it it's just come when you get there, just come on in. There's no one that refuses you to come.
Nope, you just come in and they'll give you a little information on the museum, on what there is to see. ask people if they'd like a tour. So they have a Spambassador that's available to walk people around and explain a lot of information to them. It's free of charge. And they get spamples, I would guess.
I love that name.
Samples.
Yeah.
I would say every 20 minutes or so, someone will come around with a new tray and served on a toothpick. Because back in the day, we got tired of picking toothpicks up off the floor. So a pretzel works really well.
Yeah, that's totally edible.
Huh. So who came up with Spambassador, or is that not important? Just that it is.
You know, it's been we've had 3 museums in Austin.
Oh.
Our first one started in a mall, and it was about the shoebox size, and that was in 1991. And that was basically because the 100 years of Hormel.
Okay.
And they thought, well, you know, after 6 months or 8 months, who's going to want to come and see about this? Well, obviously that didn't happen. And so they bought a building, and it was half IT and that sort of thing, and the other half was museum. And that was there for several years. And then in 2016, as the company grew, they needed more IT space and that sort of thing. So there was 3 buildings that had burned down in downtown Austin. So Hormel bought that space, built a new museum, and that opened in April of 2016. So we're going on our 10th year anniversary. And July 31st of this year, I believe, they're having a celebration for the 10 years of Spam. But Spambassadors, when I started, that was the name you got. And it was really kind of an honor to have that name because I'll tell you, I worked in sales for many years, own business, and that's the first time I had a title.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
So are all Spam products sold in cans, or is there another type
No,
of?
there are some Spam products that are sold in cellophane or foil wrappers, singles, and you can buy those, and those are great for like just a sandwich or whatever. And now it's funny you should mention that Hormel has come out with a Spam hot dog.
Oh, okay.
I've not had an opportunity to try them yet, but the Tendermaid here in Austin has them, and so I'm going to get down there, and they just started them a short time ago, and I'm going to try one because I would love to try a Spam hot dog. But otherwise, yeah, most of the Spam products are in a can or in that foil single pouch.
Okay. Well, folks, we have learned more than we thought we wanted to know about Spam.
And how fun it is to learn that. How many Spambassadors are required then to help take the crowd around?
Normally, we work with Discover Austin, and we find out when a lot of tours are coming because we have lots and lots of bus tours come in. So they'll let us know. So then we can staff accordingly. But I think there are about 17 to 18 Spambassadors on staff. And at any time, you'll normally find 3 or 4 at the museum. But if we have tours coming in, then we'll have more people there to help with the tours.
Sure. Do they come from all over the country or outside of the country too?
Oh, the last year I worked at the museum, we had over 40 countries represented that year's coming to the museum. And one of the last days I worked, I had people in from New Zealand, Portugal, and Romania.
Okay.
So we get people from all over the world to come and see about Spam.
So is Spam sold throughout or outside the United States?
Spam is sold outside the United States, Europe, a lot of the Asian countries, South America, Canada, obviously the United States, South Korea. So yeah, those are the main areas. Australia, New Zealand, I don't know for sure about there, but those are the main areas that Spam is sold.
Gary, is the term spam, is that a universal word throughout the world, or do different languages have it as a different pronunciation?
All the cans I've seen, now they may have different writing on it, but Spam is the universal name for it, and it's trademarked and recorded in Washington. And so whenever we had to use the term spam for any advertising or whatever, we had to put the little R with a circle up on there as a trademark symbol.
Mm-hmm. Are you still involved at the museum as a tour guide?
Not anymore. I retired after 9 years. My wife still works there. She was one of the original Spambassadors from 2016 when the new museum opened downtown, and she still works there 1 day a week.
Okay. How
What
fun.
a fun job.
It was, being an old salesman and talk to people. I enjoyed the tours, and the thing that was so much fun about it was how grateful people were, particularly in the Asian area and people from Hawaii, because they would tell us wonderful stories, well, in their minds about World War II, and that's how really Spam got to be such a important product in Hawaii and the Asian area.
Yes. Well, Gary, this has been so much fun. And you are a natural born salesman, that's for sure.
And you have an encyclopedia like mine.
Yes.
Well, living here forever, and my dad worked at the plant for 38 years. And one of my friends that went to high school with us, his dad was one of the guards at the plant, and he did all the tours. Now, they don't have tours anymore because OSHA and the government and whatever kind of disallowed them. But back when I was growing up, we could go on a tour at 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And we went during the summer as often as we could because we knew the tour guide, and you got a free hot dog when you were done. So when you were a kid growing up in the 50s, a free hot dog was always good.
Yes, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being our guest and telling us the story, not only of Spam and Hormel, but also a little bit of Austin, Minnesota, and how that fits into the whole hierarchy, you might say, of the state of Minnesota.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it. Thank you. And viewers, do tell your friends and your relatives about the 1950s Fun Shop. Before you do, you see the blue thumbs up button and the red subscribe. So touch those, please. And so then before next time, or at next time, tell your friends, even your relatives, about this 1950s Fun Chat. Until next time, toodaloo.
Bye-bye.